Yeah.
All right, let's go. What's good? What's good? What's good? You tune in Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me in effect as always. Ladies first. Porsche, what's good, miss?
Not a whole lot, Kill.
All right, I got my man the closer, Vern. Yo, I had to ask this dude, how many houses does he sell a day? Because this dude sells houses like people sell crack. Like I see somebody with this closing rate that he has. What's going on, Vern?
Man, I'm good. Glad to be here. Happy, looking forward to this topic, man.
No doubt, no doubt. And again, I know we saluted it last week. A salute again to your daughter graduating college. I cannot tell you how much of a huge accomplishment that is, and especially in the day and age. So it's dope. Congrats to you and your wife on that, definitely.
Man, appreciate it.
No doubt, no doubt. DJ Rec One out of Houston. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man? Wu-Tang is for the children.
Hey, I see you ready, bro. I see y'all ready. Yo, y'all ready? Well, you know me. Let's get right into it. We are talking about Wu-Tang's 4-part documentary. What is it? Wu-Clan?
Mics and Men.
Yeah.
Mics and Men. So that's what we're going to be chopping it up about. We're going to be looking at our top 3 things that we loved, 3 things that we learned, if there was anything that was left out that you wish would have been there, and then again, of course, how many mics we give it. Porsche, let's get started with you ladies first. What are 3 things that you love about this documentary?
I loved that all the members were kind of watching it in like a theater setting. So it felt like I don't know what happens behind the scenes, but it felt like they're all watching it sort of for the first time together. And sort of, you know, there's comments in between, and I really like that. I love that there's a video of them recording. Like, I thought that was so dope that someone was actually walking around recording them in the studio recording. Do you know what I mean? So I really like that, because that's sort of like behind the scenes stuff that we really never get to see so candidly. And honestly, I just loved everything else about it. That, you know, that this thing was even came to be, and that there was a documentary. I like the way that it was formatted into 4 parts. I thought it was super organized. The way that it sort of rolled out segments very organized, in a very organized and easy to follow way for someone. Like, I know a lot about the backstory of Wu-Tang, but for like thinking of people who don't know Wu, and they're watching this for the very first time, like, it's super easy to follow. So I like that too.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Rec, you got on the Wu shirt, so what's good? What were the top 3 things that you loved about the documentary?
I thought Porsche was going to allude to it, but man, I like the fact that, given they was in the theater, but the fact that all, I guess you could say 8 or 9, I don't know how many for sure, but Kappa counts. So I'll say 9 minus, you know, ODB, rest in peace. But I like the fact that they were all there together. You know, like he even, Meth even alluded to it. They don't get to see each other often. So I thought that was dope, that they got to sit there and watch it together and comment and talk. I thought that was dope. Number 2, I like the fact that they weren't scared to go there and talk about, you know, the issues that might have had them as quote unquote falling off. They weren't scared to talk about it. They were candid, and that you don't always see. You know, people talk about, well, I can't talk, my lawyer. You know, no, they went there. They talked about it, and I definitely enjoyed that part of it, because there was stuff that I didn't find out until about, you know, watching the documentary. The 3rd thing I liked was the fact that they spoke on the album that nobody wanted to do, because it was never put out that way. It was just put out like, hey, this is a Wu-Tang album and they're gonna charge $5 million for it. I like the fact that they covered that story, and they all were in agreement that they didn't really care for it, because there's been a lot of misconceptions that they figured that they was out looking for money or whatever, but they didn't want no parts of that album. So I definitely learned a little bit about it, man. I enjoyed it.
All right, no doubt. Vern, give me 3 things that you loved about the doc.
First, seeing them in the theater, seeing the shared joy on their face as they all reminisce, you know, on times past, man. And as a 46-year-old cat, it's dope to see my friends have kids and all that kind of stuff, get older together, man. Because, you know, a lot of black men don't get old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was dope. I I don't know if I love this, but I'll tell you what I love about this. I don't care what none of them say. Man, RZA loved the boys, man. RZA loved them more than they loved themselves at some point. If you ask me, I think we're gonna talk about. I'll get into detail about that later. But I love what RZA did for them and how he still loves them, man. So and what else? Seeing ODB's son rock with them was dope. Cause see, I knew of Wu, I know the surface stuff, but I wasn't a Wu head, man. So I tell you the other thing, man, just the feeling that I got from watching it took me back to when they came out. You know what I mean? So that the nostalgia of it was dope.
That's dope. That's dope. Basically, I'm echoing almost everything you guys said. Like Porsche said, the fact that they had old footage was amazing to me because at that time in hip hop, cats remember CB4, Chris Rock was making fun of people walking around recording everything. What we do now, it was a time in hip hop that was a joke. You know what I mean? Like that was a spoof of, in CB4 of having somebody walk around with a camera. But that also showed me that they knew that this was going to be huge. Like they understood this is going to be some next level ish. So we need to document everything. So the fact that they were documenting, business meetings, that they're videotaping, to me, the part I think I love the most, and this is the producer in me, seeing Deck and Ray record Cream, that was like, yo, like this, like, I mean, don't y'all wish we could see Nas in the booth, Nomadic, recording New York State, Mind, or recording, like the fact that I'm like, yo, these mofos really got, like, they ain't recreating this, like, no, this is them in the studio with the engineer, like doing Cream. Like, I was like, yo, this is so dope that they had so much footage, because I feel like with a lot of docs, like even Organized Noise documentary, I loved it, but there was no footage.
Yep. Right.
Footage of a young Dre, a young Big Boy, you know what I mean? In the dungeon, going through the dirt, getting dusty, recording, anything. So that, to me, this is what made this doc so dope to me, was that fact that you had that, that you had it like that. The other thing that Vernon and everybody alluded to is I love the brotherhood. You know what I mean? And like Rex said, the part that stood out, I forgot who said, we was like, yo, we don't see each other. Come together, it's just that much doper, to be here. I love the fact how they like fed off each other. How it was like, how Meth was kicking that rhyme, and then RZA was like, yo, I like that Kaepernick, like that thing be Kaepernick, like it was like, yo, that's dope. Or how they was bigging up Deck, like, yo, Deck, do that.
He's humble,
yeah. It just really felt like them bigging each other up, and it taking me back to that time to when MCs, and we'll talk about MCs and new MCs versus old MCs, but the MCs really wrote rhymes to
impress their crew.
Right, to impress their
crew. You didn't write it for nobody else but your crew.
Right. I'm not writing this rhyme for the radio. I'm not writing this rhyme for so many streams. I'm writing this rhyme so that my brothers will be like, yo, that was it right there. That bar right there got it.
Hey, Kill.
What's up?
Remember last week we talked about Meth, and Porsche asked the question as to why doesn't his solo albums hit like his guest appearances and stuff. And I thought about that when I watched it. He said, man, I write my rhymes for these dudes. I'm trying to impress them. So I think when there's 8 other cats you trying to big up for, that might answer the question why his Wu stuff is doper than his solo stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a dope point, because I mean, I forgot where I read this, but they were saying, I think when they was doing Forever, because RZA moved all the recording of Forever to LA, because he was saying the difference between making 36 Chambers was this was all we had. So cats were at every studio session. It's the same thing for anybody. Well, I don't know about newer MCs, but back in the day when you didn't have studios on your phone, you know what I mean? And when you got studio time, you was cutting whatever the fuck out. I don't care what
it was.
Your girl, school, whatever. Yo, we got studio time. Yo, I don't give a fuck what's going on. So I think when you're making 36, everybody is there. I forgot where I was reading it, but they were saying how with Forever, when they started it, people would just pop in and then leave. You know, cats would get a page, do their part, and then bounce. And it was like, yo, what happened to helping your brother through his rhymes? You know, and through that. So, you know, I think RZA moved everything out to LA. So it was like, all right, don't nobody know nobody out here. Everybody's stuck in the studio. Similar to what Puff did with Life After Death. I forgot if they went to Jamaica, they went to some island, or just so they could stay focused, you know, because there's so much, even with Ye, My Dark Twisted Fantasy. I remember seeing pictures of that studio session. He had them like the army. It was like from this time to this time is breakfast. From this time to this time we play ball. From this time to this time he had the signs up. No tweeting, no pictures, no not like he was running that. And you're in Jamaica, so you really can't just, if you do this in New York, cat's gonna be dipping and diving all the time. You know what I mean? So Vern, I think that's a dope point that maybe when he's around his crew, you know, like I don't want to say he can't give his best, but that's a good point of what it was. But that's really those two things is what I really loved. And I guess back to what Rep was saying, my third piece would be them being so candid. One thing that they said was Power came in with a shoebox full of money, you know, to pay for this session. And the reason why that stood out for me was, and this is no disrespect to anybody. I don't want anybody saying that people love. No, I love Nipsey Hussle to death and everything like that. But after Nipsey's passing, a lot of people have been telling kids like, look, you could be Nipsey Hussle too. Look at how Nipsey owned all these businesses. And it's like, yeah, but Nipsey had to fucking sell drugs and do a whole bunch of illegal stuff to get that money. You know what I mean? I remember watching a documentary of how they opened a Marathon store, and his brother was saying, yo, we sitting here, the cops got us arrested for selling stuff out the trunk, and we looked up and we saw, you know, the property was for rent, so we just put our money together and we brought it. Like, that's true, but it's not like, nigga, you work in Subway and I work and we put our money together and we just went and brought it. You know, Nipsey talked about how he had $250K buried in his mother's backyard. Like, you don't bury $250K, you know what I mean? So I always tell people, same thing with Jay, making reasonable doubt. Premier was talking about, yo, we would get paid with shoebox money. You know what I mean? If Jay-Z works for UPS, we don't get reasonable doubt.
Right.
He could be just as nice as he would be, but how you paying for D&D? How you paying for Ski Beats? How you paying for Premier Beats if you work at UPS? So I think the hard part for me is just like, it's kind of when people are telling my kids like, oh, you could look at Jay, you could be Jay. It's almost like, I almost feel like, well, are you telling them to sell drugs? Because that's what you'd have to do to get off the ground to become Jay-Z or to become a Nipsey Hussle or to become a Wu-Tang Clan. You know what I mean? So
I hate when people use outliers as examples. You see, Warren Buffett never bought any Jordans. Oh, that's why he's a billionaire, man. Shut up.
Right. You know, and I mean, I get it. White folk across this country, like Chris Rock said, has been built on bootlegging, has been built on slavery. And, you know, so I'm not dissing the people because, you know, this country is built on some messed up stuff that happened. But it's just, you know, I'm always telling my teens when somebody's like, oh, you could be the next Nipsey Hussle. I'm like, yeah, okay.
I don't know about that.
Let's try to be Nipsey the legal way. You know?
Right.
So, you know, so I did love that it was candid like that it was like, all right, boom, you know, boom. Power came with the shoebox full of money because these dudes ain't paying for studio time and ASR 10s and all that stuff, you know, working no 9 to 5. So I did love, you know, just how candid it was. Now, tell me this. Y'all know me, and it's one of the reasons I love doing a podcast with y'all. I always want to create an environment where somebody learns something. You know, I'm always hard pressed. If you tell me you watch an episode with us and you ain't learned one thing, I'm gonna have to call foul on that because I learn something new every week with y'all. So, what were 3 things that you learned from this documentary that you did not know before the documentary? Porsche, what about you?
I definitely didn't know Divine, like at all. Like that was. Like I kind of followed Wu ever since the beginning of time. Like that, they're my first. I mean, people who know me know Protected Neck is the reason why hip hop is so embedded in my life. I've been a Wu fan since Jump. I never in my life knew who Divine was until this documentary. So I'm like sitting here like listening to this, and I'm like, where the heck did you come in from? Anyways. So that whole everything to do with Divine was new to me, and and I kind of liked that. That there's a learning there. I also I mean, Rec I think touched on it, and so did Vern. Everything surrounding that one album, that $5 million album. There was a little bit of news around it at the time when that dude purchased it, but not as in depth as it was. And I 100% didn't know about this Silver Rings dude who everyone, I got unfollowed by like 15 people because I said that Silver Rings was a whole fool. So that whole thing was new to me as well. So.
All right, no doubt. What about you, Rec?
Yeah, I wasn't up on the Silver Rings cat. I knew about the album, but I had no idea about how much how much he was involved in putting it together. I honestly thought it was just a real Wu-Tang album with RZA and just, making it a piece of art like he had said. I had no idea who that dude was. That's one thing. The other thing that I think I learned, I would say more about, was the fact of how U-God and Deck got left out of the picture when it comes to like their solo offerings. I'm not gonna say what I think it is. I'll wait till later. But I didn't really get it. I didn't understand it until watching the documentary and how things were broken down as to why they might have been left out of certain things. So them shedding light on that helped me out a lot, because I ain't gonna say I was bitter, but I damn sure was pissed. Not so much with U-God, but with Deck. Like I was the kid in the corner fighting, like, yo, Deck is nice, and I would always point to the Pete Rock album, like, yo, you don't hear this? You don't hear this, Gangstar? Like, you don't hear this? So I learned a lot about the situation with Deck and where he's at and how he's left. U-God too, but more so Deck. I think the last thing I learned would honestly be more about RZA's solo career as Prince Rakeem. I knew who he was. Yeah. I had heard the songs. Yeah. I seen him on, the shows or whatever, but they dove into it. The Cold Chillin' situation and how he was kind of just put out there. I like the fact that he spoke on it, because I didn't quite understand. I was, looking at it like, how you go from Prince Rakeem to the RZA, like it's two completely different things and completely different people. But like he said, the label pretty much made him Prince Rakeem. And, I learned a lot about that, which kind of helped me put a lot of stuff in perspective as to why he does things the way he does. I don't think he ever wants somebody to have that kind of control over him in his situation again, but that's what I learned.
The funny thing, Rec, let's talk about that for a minute, because the whole Prince Rakeem and, you love me, Rakeem. I think for me, and I wonder it, and I think it's because maybe you become so dope and nobody ever wanted to diss the Wu. Like, like for instance, Dre, cats would always go at, look at this nigga, he had on lipstick and he had on this. And I'm like, well, it was in an R&B group in there.
Right. And it was 85.
Right. Like an Atlantic Star. Like you couldn't be an Atlantic Star with no comment.
And not wear no sequence. He was getting kicked out.
But, people will diss Dre because of that. Whereas I feel like with Mobb Deep and Wu, we just get amnesia and act like that. Like nobody ever was like, yo, nigga, you was up on the stage talking about people love, you know what I mean? Or the genius.
Yeah.
Like, that was come do me like some old
man
TV type thing.
And see, Cold Chillin' was killing me, because I think and we talked about this in past episodes, I think Cold Chillin' was looking for their either next Big Daddy Kane or their next big artist and trying to follow a situation that was already done. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole, New Jack Swing and Big Daddy Kane, that joint did not work at all. And they tried it with the GZA. And he's he doesn't even fit that bill. No homo, but he's not a ladies' man. Like I don't think no female is checking for the GZA like how they checking for Big Daddy Kane.
Right.
Then you figure with the RZA and Prince Rakeem, it feels like they're trying to use him as a Biz Markie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't feel genuine,
And I mean, again, this is no diss, because
not at all.
I think what you're saying is essentially true, that if you got a record deal in 1991, that's where that time was shifting.
You was loving the ladies, bro.
Right. It was basically like you have to move towards this vibe. Like, you know, we're coming out of the, you know, NWA. We're not really coming out of that, but one of the spinoffs of hip hop is doing this New Jack Swing, you know, being a ladies dude type thing. So it's no diss to them for doing.
Nah, not at all. I mean, Granddaddy IU spit bars, and then next thing you know, he's taking your girl. So it's just a matter of who is doing it.
Right. Yeah. It's the thing of it, and it's almost the same thing that I said about that time frame with Cassidy and Jadakiss and Fab. Like, why don't they have these three great lyricists? Why don't they have a great discography? And I'm like, because they got signed at a time when everything was about the radio, but it then makes you question, well, why would you sign a dirty freestyle dude like Cassidy or Jadakiss and then try to turn them into something you already know? And it's funny that this person said this, but Stephon Marbury said back in 1996 when the draft was going on and the Sixers had the #1 pick, and it was like people were saying it was between him and AI, and Steph was saying, well, you should draft me because point guards are born. They're not made. You know what I mean? And saying that Allen really wasn't a point guard. He's a two guard in a points body. But I understood what he was. Well, it's hard to understand it because Steph is kind of a shoot first point guard too. But I think that's the thing. Like, you can't shift somebody. Like, so many times in the league now, it's like, oh, we're going to take this two guard and we're going to make you a point guard. But that's not what's in his DNA. His DNA is to not pass the ball first and get other people involved. It's to shoot. You're only making him this person because of his height. Because if you're 6'5", you'd be fine with him being a two guard. So I understand what you're saying with, like, why are you trying to take this grimy dude, Jizz, and no disrespect, the grill kind of messed up and try to make him a ladies' man like that. Like, you know, look at this dude. Like, it's not the dude to be making like it goes back to the A&R. Like, why would you even sign this dude? You know what I mean? You don't even have this look. So I just found it fun because so many people who love Wu don't know nothing about the whole We Love
Rakim. Yeah.
You know, you'll get into arguments and they'll be like, oh, just his debut album, Liquid Swords. I'm like, well, really, that's second one. Go ahead. Vern, what are 3 things that you learned about the Wu from this documentary?
All right, I'm gonna give you some Foxy Brown math because it's gonna be like 5 instead of 3. But
oh man,
Porsche mentioned it today, and it's so true. All right, like I said, I was a surface level Wu fan. You know, I'm a Deck fan now, bro. I'm going back and just listening. That dude is dope, man. So I got a new respect for Deck. Because I knew about Prince Rakeem, Portia said this. I like RZA's flow now. Because I have a basis point to start it from. I it's unorthodox, but it's dope. So I mean, they got a new fan. I'm about to cop bunch of stuff now because
say no more. I got you.
I wasn't on them.
It'll be in your email tonight.
All right, bet. I didn't know you guys' son got shot. And I learned more about the dynamic because, you know, I made jokes about Golden Arms or whatever. But you know, as I get older, I understand, like, as fans, we might not think rapper X is an integral part of a group, but that group does, you know. And so if these dudes respect him, I'm going to ride with him too. And I didn't realize, and I think we're going to talk more about this too, how they sabotage their own success repeatedly.
Me and Vern had that conversation this week. Me and Vern, we spoke on the phone this week. We had that conversation for about 30 minutes.
I'll just speak on the fact that I didn't know that you come on a radio station's concert and diss the whole radio station and they're conglomerate. So it ain't just that station. And then you walk off a tour. You know, and so that's the domino effect. And hopefully, like I said, we'll talk some more stuff. But those are some of the things I learned.
Nah, bro, you go into it.
All right, okay. Here's my thing, man. Here's the biggest thing I learned. That
you done gave him the reins.
We already know this, man. But most artists suck as business people.
Right. That is true.
All right. Divine and RZA pulled these boys out the mud, man.
Like they did, but then it wasn't all noble. Like at some point, like it's this was something that kind of was jarring for me because I always championed Jizza's vision, the love he had for the whole concept of Wu-Tang, all of that. And then I see this documentary and there was a point where I was like, wow, you're grimy. Like there was a point where RZA, you could tell, especially with the collaboration with Silver Rings,
Yeah, that's
where you're like,
yeah, that was trash.
somewhere along the way, you became a grimy dude.
You know,
And like, yeah, you have love for your bros, and that's cool, but you have another agenda as well. And now you're playing both sides of the fence, and I'm not down with that. So that was one thing that, like, I don't know. I mean, when I saw the whole Divine and RZA thing, I was like, I don't know. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Sorry, I had to just say that.
No, you
Sorry,
good.
sorry,
So
Vern.
the fanboy Freddie, that sucked. It ain't no excuse for that Silver Ring crap. But here's the thing. They signed all these dudes to 50-50 deals.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of labels that, production deals that are 50-50. That's that part. Then they made a horrible business decision for Love. They didn't have to let any of them out of those deals. First of all, they set up a great deal that all 9 of us are on Wu-Tang, but you can't get us unless you let them all be free agents to sign with other record labels. They did.
Yeah, that's unprecedented. That's never going to happen again.
Ever. So all these dudes was hustling and running. Were they making 50 points on the package when they were selling drugs? I doubt it. And then so to me, okay, so RZA out of love, let them all out and let them sign their deals. So they think that they're great businessmen. Why do they still need RZA? And it bugged my mind when Divine said, y'all got 3.2 mil to do whatever y'all want to with it. No, you ain't getting your 20%. Well, okay, y'all signed with all these respective labels. What do you think they were getting?
Exactly. It's somebody that you came up with, first of all. Like, you know who he is. And me and Vern talked about this week. And if it wasn't for the things that he did within the deal, they wouldn't have the 3.2 million to split between the 4 entities. And Ghost even said it in the documentary. Yeah. He was like, nah, I get it. You caught the deal, but I want all my million. So, okay, you take your million. You still got to pay Joe Schmo, the lawyer, his fees just because he's your lawyer. You got to pay management fees, taxes on the money. If I do a deal and Vern sets it up and I got 800 left in the deal and Vern got his 10-20%, I'm happy because I didn't have $800,000 5 minutes ago. I think that their mismanagement and not having any knowledge of finance killed what could have been a dynasty to this day from a standpoint of monopolizing what you see on this shirt, because there's all kind of stuff with this and everything else. They could all be making I don't even know how to calculate it, but it could be along the lines of when NBA players make money off their jersey sales. They could have been making the same kind of money for the same amount of time, because Wu-Tang honestly is not going to die. I'm in Houston, Texas, and I wear this shirt, and it's people of all races, creeds, and colors that know what this shirt means. I had an old white lady walk up to me and was like, I like that group. I know who you're talking about. My grandson listens to them. Now, her grandson probably ain't 21 years old. So I just think their thought process behind what business was wrong. Now, they might have done homie business, and Kill talks about this all the time. Kill don't do homie business. That's the one thing I learned about my brother Kill. Ain't no homie business going on with my man.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about
okay.
I do homie business. I do homie business.
Okay, my bad. But in their status, shouldn't have been no homie business at that level, because it should have been done correctly, and they should have had the knowledge to say, okay, if Power goes out and negotiates 3.2 million for 4 people, and I get 800,000 out of that, and my brother gets 800, and my other brother gets 800, and Power gets 20%, or Devon, whoever it was, gets 20% of each one of that, then I think that's fair, and I don't think there's any issue with that.
The smartest thing RZA said in that whole documentary was, and this part sort of broke my heart when I listened to it, because he said it was so much emotion and disappointment. And he says, you took a group that was like 40 mil strong and you broke it up. And that was the stupidest thing that ever happened to us. And it's so true, because it's exactly like, I always call this Godfather mentality, because it's like, keep the money in the family, right? Like, if you had just kept it in, everybody would have gotten more than you guys branching out and going like against the family, right?
Correct.
So when I heard RZA say that, like, my heart broke right then and there. I was like, oh man, like that. Then I knew that love that he had was genuine. At that point, I was like, yeah, he definitely genuinely was looking out for the best interest of all of them, for sure. He had long-term ideas for it. It wasn't just like, oh, this is just right now. It was like, no, we'll do this and this. Like, he had a lot of things down the pipe that they could do. Clearly, since stupid silver rings came into the picture. Like, I just, oh God.
I got a theory behind that too.
Dude.
Ego is a motherfucker. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it is. Divine had a plan. Let's buy up the blocks. You know, he's a businessman, but they didn't follow that because of the ego part of it. And here's the thing too: Divine is chilling on a yacht, and there's a reason why. Because he has a business mind. A lot of those dudes are waiting on the next big paycheck, and that's unfortunate. They didn't have to do that. Because okay, you get rid of Divine, but then you go to Howard Silverman, whomever, and like you said, you got to pay him. Divine talked about it. Okay, you don't want me to get paid. We come to these meetings, and now I see all these other managers. Like in my business, man, I get a lot of loan officers that want a larger cut. Okay, my cut is smaller, but my company gives me the opportunity to get in front of more people. So I might not make as much off of one deal, but I'm doing 40 times the business that you're doing. But yeah, you the boss. I mean, it's that Twitter mentality. I'm a boss. I ain't gonna work for nobody. But you making 50 grand. I'm making 500 grand. Go have your lunch with Jay-Z. I'm gonna go over here and go to the plantation and set myself up for long-term success.
Indeed.
So I'm passionate about that, man, because it's unfortunate. Like I said, some of them do like a U-God and a deck. Man, I mean, Ghost got opportunity.
Hold tight, bro. What happened? Because I be doing 80, 50 million things at one time. Like, I don't know the last time I actually sat down and watched a movie. Okay. It wasn't doing 50 other things. Rec, you alluded to it. What did I miss about Deck and you got? What?
So here's what happened. In the documentary, they specifically talk about how each and every member was able to go and sign with other companies, right? Labels. Everyone, other labels. Everyone had a gold or platinum album, except for Deck and U-God, which means that their focal point of finance is coming from any and all Wu-Tang, features, shows, albums, whatever. But here's the problem: you don't have all 9 members signed to Wu-Tang now, so they don't have to do a Wu-Tang album if they don't want to. And it takes RZA years and months to get all of them together. So their money is dead. But you got Meth going out here doing shows with Redman, albums, Cheese in the Wire. He's doing all these other things.
And the reason was because did they say why they didn't sign with labels? Because Deck wasn't on Loud.
Deck was on Loud. Deck was on Loud. You got, I think, was on Geffen.
Okay.
I think it was on. I got to look at my shelf. I got the album on my shelf, the original press. I got to look. I think he signed to Geffen, but they ended up getting put on the shelf. This is one thing I wish they would have alluded to: the flood.
Well, hold tight. We're gonna get to that.
All right.
So I think where Deck and U-God got the short end of the stick was when things started falling apart before they got their time in the limelight.
Yes, they did not get it.
Right. So Ray did, Meth did, Ghost did,
Dirty.
Jizza did, Dirty did. But then came time for Deck and U-God, everyone, it's sort of crumbling. So RZA's, maybe he had intentions of making it as big and as like hypey, but things just, he was scrambling, things are falling apart, he's trying to hold the team together, everyone's like on him to get out of their contracts and whatever. So I think like You Got in Deck just sort of, it was a different kind of flood that affected them. It was just, yeah, it was just not. That's how I understood it. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Good point. No, good point.
No, good point. Good point.
All right. To talk about, because I think the business piece is so key, and one thing, and I want to say it was in the documentary where Devon said, his mother taught him something about, you want to be smart or wise. I forgot which one it was.
You want to be wise.
Right. The wise you learn from other people. And
Yep.
my whole time at the radio station from 93 to 2000, I just really soaked in up everything that I heard. Like, totally off topic. Y'all remember Ill and Out Scratch, right?
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
Where my homies?
Right. We're my homies.
Up to no good.
Was the reason why that album got rushed so fast was because they dropped the For My Homie song. It blew up, and the label was like, "You got 9 days." Like that ass. This now,
yeah, I know the story.
This is just coming from somebody who worked at the label at the time, but it made sense. But what that taught me was, when I'm working with an artist, I will never release a single until the whole album is complete. See, that's what I learned from that. Because I learned from that mistake of, you put out the single, it blows up, we ain't got an album, you got 7 days to find producers, to write rhymes, and that's why that album wasn't that good. So I'm gonna take away from that. Okay, I'm gonna make sure the whole album is done before I even take the single to the label, because then if it blows up, boom, the album's already done. There you go. I don't need 7 days, we done.
Yep.
So that's one thing that I learned. What I learned from RZA was to educate the people that are around you. You know what I mean? It's crazy to me that in 2019, we still have people who want to be MCs, who want to be in this music business, but don't know anything about it. You know what I mean? I get why Tip was getting jerked back in 1990. You know what I mean? But Tip told us in 1990, record company labels are shady. You know what I mean? So it really, it's hard for me to really still understand how in 2019, I come across a bunch of people who have zero business knowledge. Because I'm like, with the internet, I mean, you could just Google what's a good record deal. I wish I had the DVD on me. It's another room. It's a Dilated Peoples DVD. And Raka Irish Science was saying how he had this lawyer. The lawyer couldn't get the job done. He just took a whole day, went to the library, figured all this shit out himself. And he said, that night, I fired my lawyer. Like, y'all can just go to the library to figure it out. But I say that to say that back in 97, me and my crew was trying to do this thing called Starving Artists. And the first thing I did from the first meeting, I said, look, we are all going to Barnes & Noble, and we are all buying this book, All You Need to Know About the Record Industry by Donald Passman. We are all, and we all went together, because I ain't want to hear nothing about, I ain't get the book. Everybody brought the book. At our business meetings, we would talk about what did you read in that chapter, because what was happening was people were like, well, Kill, you did the labels and you interned here and you did that. Yo, you take care of all that. And I'm like, no, because you ain't going to come back to me later talking about Kill jerked me. So we are all going to be on the same playing field. Like I said, before every meeting, did you read the chapter? Did y'all have questions? Let's talk about it, because I wanted everybody to be educated. But again, RZA didn't, I mean, in 93, I mean, half them dudes probably like, nigga, I don't even want to read. What are you talking about? Read a book. You know what I mean? So, well,
it's true, because they're leaving to go sell drugs and come back.
Right.
And like, how is he going to educate?
Right. He's not going to be like, yo, while you out on the block, just had his big ass book.
Right.
All I need to know about the music industry.
Right.
Number two, the hard part too, when Vern said it, that ego of, I'm just as nice as he is. Like, I'm sure you guys thinks he's on the same level as Mev, Ghost, Ray, and everybody else. And truth be told, he's not.
Right.
You know what I mean? So can you play your position? Can you be like, okay with, I never forget this year, Lou Williams did something, he broke some record for the sixth man, and he was like, it's greatest sixth man ever. And I'm like, do I want to be known as the greatest sixth man ever? Like, I don't know if I want that title. You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to play their position. I think Lou could be starting for a lot of teams, but
but he is the greatest because he plays his position.
Yeah, because he would just be a good guy. He would just be a good guy He
dropped 30. He dropped 30 starting off the bench. It don't matter.
But if you guy believes in his heart of hearts, I'm just as good as Meth, then it's why am I not platinum? Why am I not, on TV and all of this stuff? Again, another thing I heard from the radio station, and keep in mind, all these things are not rumors these are things I was told by people who are in the industry. I was told that Group Home and Primo fell out because Group Home was like mad because they didn't go platinum. They're like, why didn't you give us them beats that you gave Biggie? Why didn't you give them? And Primo is trying to explain to them, look, Biggie didn't sell 5 million records because of Unbelievable. You know,
Exactly.
Life After Death did not sell 10 million records because of kicking the door in the 10 crack commandments type thing. But people look at stuff like that and be like, yo, why, you know, and at the end of the day, it's so crazy to believe that because Primo gave them maybe his dopest beats ever.
Correct. You already know how I feel about that album.
Yeah, but then how do you feel as Primo knowing I gave you the best and you still mad at me? Like you mad because you didn't go platinum.
Yeah.
People want to always blame and they don't want to look at themselves in the mirror because Ray said something that got under my skin. RZA, you a good leader, you're not a great leader. Really?
Yeah.
Dude, everything that you have is because of and he ain't on some hey, y'all did this because of me.
Right.
But bro, just look at it. I mean, think about all he sacrificed. He sent his family to Ohio and he just put in hours in the studio looking like a caveman to make this stuff and set things up for you. And if y'all had followed the plan, it might be a different story. Because I mean, we all know Divine and RZA are better off than the other cats. Like now, Meth got his acting and all that kind of stuff. But when they left out the movie theater, that's like, yeah, this next time we got to go for 10 million, whatever. You wouldn't have had to do that if you'd have just followed the guy, because they said it all through the documentary. RZA was the brain. RZA had the plan. If it weren't for him, da 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 da. So, and I think not to excuse it, because that golden whatever the fanboy name is, I don't even remember his name, Silverwing or whatever. I think RZA was hurt. Yeah, Porch, I feel you on that. I think he was hurt because he said, man, these cats are coming off as ungrateful.
Yeah.
All I've done. So shoot, man, I'm gonna go mess with this corny dude that worship the ground I walk on. You know, doesn't make it right, but I kind of get it, man.
No.
So
now, I was gonna say that too. And another thing about the business, and Rec, to what you were saying with the homie BI, I do homie business every day. You know what I mean? Because I call it, but you got to be my homie. That's the
I think that's what I was trying to allude to.
Like that's the thing. Like y'all already know whatever y'all need is done. You know what I mean? I call it investing in people. I tell people all the time, I may not have the money to invest in you, but I'll give you 5 beats for free. I'll make your website for free. There are other ways to invest. Now, when it comes to people I don't know on Twitter, this is where we go with the 80-20 rule. Remember, I turned into a shady record label when
and that's what I was basing it off of, that exact conversation.
Because people was like, damn, Kill, you as bad as the record label. And I'm like, but this goes to show you that even in 2019, people don't understand it. People don't understand that, my dude, you are writing the rhymes. I'm not belittling that. You know what I mean? But you have one job. I'm making the beats. Then you want me to mix it. Then I got to promote it. I'm doing 8 jobs. That don't line up. And there was MCs I was arguing with that we're talking about. Oh no, the MC does more than one job. He has to write the rhymes, then he has to recite the rhymes. I'm like, nigga, shut the fuck.
Get out of here, man.
So as a producer,
you got to recite them.
You know what? My job as a producer, I got to turn the MPC on. How about that? That's one. Then I got.
You sick.
Like, come on, dog. You don't do that shit, man. Don't do that. The MC got 8 jobs. You are writing the rhymes. That's what you're doing. And people, and it's sad that people still don't understand that to this day. And you know, I think the hard part that nobody, Vern, you made a great point. My pastor said he's been doing marriage counseling for 30 years. He has never seen a couple come in saying, you know what, this is what I'm doing wrong. This is why the marriage isn't right, because of what I'm doing. And then the spouse comes in and says, you know what, Pastor, this is what I'm doing. Everybody comes in pointing fingers. It's her fault. It's his fault. He don't do, she don't do. Nobody wants to, like you said, Vern, say, look in the mirror, because here's the problem. What happened to all y'all mofos' career when RZA wasn't behind them? What happened? Y'all wanted to get RZA, y'all wanted to get off Wu-Tang production.
Cuban Links.
Y'all couldn't wait to get off RZA. But here's the thing. The only person who was successful was Ghost. Ghost was the only person who was still able, because one of the things I was going to talk about later, but I'll bring it up now, is I think the great big, well, let me finish this first. I'll put a pin in that.
Make sure you remember it.
Yeah, I put a pin. Thank you, Vern, because I will forget. Portia knows that's my brain right there. But here's the thing: you also have people in your ear. You also don't understand, because then what will happen is it'll be like, and Meth said this at the Statue of Liberty when he ran into his old boy, and he was like, "Oh, I still live there." And the white guy was like, "You still live there?" Like, and he's like, "Oh, no, a little better." But what happens is you see RZA with a mansion, and you still live in a condo. And again, you're thinking you're equal. You're thinking all the same, but you're not remembering when you left the studio and RZA was still there for another 20 hours, for another 8 days while you was in Jamaica blowing all your money. RZA was still doing this. RZA was doing soundtracks. RZA was doing scores. You know, so people don't want to take the time to sit back and be like, you know what, but that, you know, I only did do one album and RZA out here. People don't do that because, you know what? Again, we're all equals. Because you have people who don't, and this is why people say, don't do business with your family.
Correct.
I've heard that since I was a kid. Don't do business with your family because, you know, and Gang Starr got the song, B.I. versus Friendship. You know, at the end of the day, some people be like, well, if we all brothers, then we all should be getting a cut off for everything you do, RZA. Trust me, there was somebody in the Wu who has felt that way and may still feel that way, that, yo, we really brothers. If you really my brother, then I should be getting a percentage off of everything that you do.
No.
People don't
But again, I'm just saying that there's somebody who believes that, because if I'm your brother, why would you be living in a mansion knowing I'm living in a 2-bedroom condo with 3 kids? You know what I'm saying? And instead of looking at themselves and going to RZA like, yo, brother, like, yo, teach me something, like, or teach me how to make beats. Like, because at the end of the day, and again, I don't understand why to this day, this is why we don't have groups anymore, because we finally understood that the producer is always going to make more than the rapper. Now, in the 90s, cats didn't get that. You know what I mean? So, same thing, I'm sure. Pete and CL, I've heard plenty of stories about that. Why CL got 5 cars? I mean, why Pete got 5 cars and CL, you only got 1? Why Pete got the Lexus and you got the Accord? Why? You know, and nobody's keeping an account that this mofo got 100 remixes on the radio right now. You know what I mean? Nobody thinks about that. That's out of sight, out of mind. But because we're partners, we are supposed to have the same. You know what I mean? And I think that's the wild part. What I was going to say. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't know if you guys noticed the part where Raekwon, this is like old footage. Raekwon says, he says, I'm paraphrasing, don't quote, this isn't a quote, but he says something to the effect of, nothing will ever break up the Wu, where the money is the root of all evil. We're never going to let money break us up, or something like that. And then later you see, like, it cuts to all of this nonsense of what's going on. So I feel like at some point you see the ego sort of kicking in. Yep. You know what I mean? And then people being like, well, no, I need to go out on my own because I think I can do better on my own, kind of thing. And it bites him in the ass.
Divine was like, look, they was screaming at him. I didn't say F Power 97. Y'all did.
Yeah.
I didn't walk off this big tour that could have led to something else. Y'all did. Yeah. I set these things up so y'all could make money. But now y'all looking at me like, why you making money? Dude, again, like I told Rick, that's the reason Divine is chilling on a multi-million-dollar yacht, and cats are still looking for the next big paycheck. And it's no diss, man. It's like, okay, if they could pay Chris Paul $34 million a year, how much do you think the owner is making?
You just want to use Chris Paul after we took that out. Sorry, we're still brothers. I still love you. It's cool, though.
How much do you think that owner is making?
Right.
You're absolutely correct, man.
It's a business. So it's like, if you were selling T-shirts, you wouldn't expect your worker to make more than you. It's man.
But Ron, that's the problem with the business. Now, here's the part where, again, I say I learned from other people, maybe things people could have done better. Mm-hmm. I remember Kappa saying, yo, I came home to $250,000. Now, did Divine just say, here's $250,000? Or did Divine sit down and say, okay, Cap, let's sit down. I'm going to show you how this works. Yo, we giving you $250,000. This is based off of what we project you to sell. Now, what selling is blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Or the original just say, yo, my nigga, you home, my nigga, yo, love, yo, here's $250,000.
Yep.
and then just walk away. Because if you do it like that, then I do feel some kind of way. I feel like, yo, when niggas come, if you a hood dude and you understand jail, when niggas come home from jail, you get a welcome home package.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, this is my welcome home package. I came home to a quarter of a million.
AKA, is it recoupable?
But then when you documentary, when you see Kappa talking about, well, I went gold and why my money ain't lining up, first thing I thought was, they go that quarter mil.
You got that quarter mil. I thought the same thing.
But again, if Divine isn't sitting down to educate,
that's true.
there is a percentage of the fault that's on him.
True.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You got to take that with a grain of salt too, because they could have educated and people will still understand it the way they perceive it to be. So, and that's happened a lot. Like we saw it in the NWA movie too, where, they have all these hotels and then they do all this like extravagant stuff. And then the check they take home is significantly less. And then dude comes up to them and says, where do you think that money for all of these things was coming from?
Right. Like, but the key thing is for me is that to again, what I've learned from other people's mistakes is I always want to cover my ass. People ask me all the time, Kill, how do you do this work in the hood and your kids are locked up, your kids getting killed? And because I can say at the end of the night, I told them, I educated them. And then they went off and made their own decisions. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. Like the same thing. I always talk about how, rappers will come down and they take out all the radio station people. And one time we were out at the Cheesecake Factory, Camp Low took us out. And I was just sitting there and I was like talking to my man who's with me like, yo, do these fools know they paying for all this shit?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and no disrespect. I'm sorry. I did not mean to say fools. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, do they understand that all these dinners where we're ordering, if you think if you thought we was getting appetizers, you take us out to dinner. Yo, me and my radio crew was eating. You know what I mean? And it's just not my crew. It's 92Q. It's 90. It's
everybody. DMV area.
So we eating. So this Cheesecake Factory bill ain't gonna be less than 5-6 G's. And then you're gonna do that in Virginia, and you're gonna do that in Atlanta, and you're gonna do that in Chicago, and you're gonna do that in LA. So again, this comes back to how do we educate each other? So that's all I'm saying, that Divine may have done that. And if he did, that's good. But if you didn't, then that to me is there's some fault on you, because like I said, if Vern comes home from jail and I just write him a check for $100K, he's like, yo, that's love. My man just threw me $100K. Like, this is a good welcome home present, not understanding that and here's the wild part. What if Kappa didn't go gold? See, now you got owe Wu-Tang production money. Now it's going to be like, yo, why are you coming at me for this? Like, and again, your people. You know what I mean? You RZA know, you know what I mean, that, yo, this nigga ain't the swiftest reader in the world. So don't tell me, oh, you just gave him the record contract to read. First of all, I tell people this all the time. Record contracts are written in a whole nother language.
Correct.
A record contract is literally like trying to read a book in Spanish. Or a different language. That's why lawyers go to school to learn law. I'm dead ass.
No, I'm laughing because it's the truth.
I'm telling you, law is a whole nother language.
Yes.
This is why people go to school to take Spanish, so they can speak Spanish. People go to law school so they can learn to speak law. This is why you should always get a lawyer. Whether you're buying a house with Vern, whether you're getting a beat from me, you need a lawyer because they speak a language you don't speak. So again, even if RZA was like, yo, I gave him the contract, my G, come on. Like, I've seen a contract to sell one beat be 30 pages or one beat. Okay? Just one. So you talking about a multi-record deal contract? Like, so you can't just be like, oh, well, I gave Cap the contract to read. That's on him if he ain't read it. Nah, well, kind of, sort of, but then it's really on you because, again, great example. My mentor, love him to death. When I first met him, he just got out of jail, didn't know nothing about computers. This dude would be hitting the side of the computer trying to turn it on. And I'd be like, Jay, that's not how you turn the computer on. Now, here's the thing. As a supervisor, I could have said, well, look, the only way I do, I talk to my staff is email. If you ain't on email, then you're just lost. To me, that's not a good supervisor. You got to know your team. I understood that there were 4 people on my team who I could email. 5 people on my team I had to have face-to-face conversations with. The other 3 people on my team, but I did that. Now, some of my Tanya used to always be like, man, that's a lot of work. But if I want to get the best out of my workers, I have to talk to them in a way that they understand. I'm not being a good supervisor if I know Porsche don't. email. Why am I gonna send it 10 emails? Like, why? Why would I do that? Because the goal of getting something accomplished isn't gonna happen. Of course, don't check her email. So to me, it's easier. But again, Vern, that focus of the bigger picture. Most people don't have the bigger picture. It'll just be, well, of course, don't check her emails. That's on her, and then I'll type it. You know what I mean? And that's not right if that's your person like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the thing that I remembered I want to put a pin in was this. When we were talking about how did people do without RZA, the thing I did love about this documentary, it showed how powerful Wu was. And what I mean by how powerful they were, it's 2019. The Wu-Tang haven't had a dope album out since 1997.
Correct.
Wu-Tang forever.
Correct.
Now the Iron Flags and the Dub, I don't know.
Nah.
Don't nobody talk about nothing past forever. That's 1997. It's 2019. And these dudes are still the Wu. And it really shows you how much of an impact, because I was like looking at this. I'm like, okay, Memphis had 5 albums out. His best album is To Cal. That's 94. You know, Dirty had what, 3 albums out, but I think 2 of them was after he died. So really all he had was Return. That was what, 96. Ray has 6 albums and like 4 mixtapes, but in my opinion, I know some people like some of them joints. I only like Cuban Links 1 and 2. You know what I mean? So Cuban Links 2 was 2009. GZA, Liquid Swords, 1995. You know, again, you know, outside of Ghostface, there's really not too many people from the Wu that have been jumping for the last 19 years. And for people, like you said, Rec, for people to still be wearing Wu-Tang, Kevin Durant done got the tattoo on his leg, you know, I see stuff from following the Wu on Twitter. It's monuments around the world, the Wu. So, like, but when we look back at, like, yo, these dudes ain't really had a hit in almost 20 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you really look
25
back,
years, man.
like, you're really looking at the math, like, yo, these
25
dudes,
years.
These dudes really did some shit to be like, they ain't had a hit record as a group in 25 years. You know what I mean? But tell me this. What were 3 things that you wanted to see that you didn't get a chance out the documentary? Porsche, what you got?
Can you skip me? I mean, I got to think about this one for a little bit.
Yeah.
No doubt. Rec, what do you got?
All right, so I'm gonna go there. I wanted him to talk about the flood.
Yes, definitely flood.
And all of that music and all of those albums that had to be redone and rethought and for those that don't make or create anything, creative space is important. You cannot recreate that time, that feeling, or anything. I don't give a fuck what you're doing. If you tracing Charlie Brown and the Peanuts, you can't recreate that feeling of what you're doing. So to create something as monumental as what those things could have been, I wanted him so bad to talk about that, the hit that it took, what he might have had. I was hoping they would have had some footage. They didn't talk about that.
Now, hold tight. Let me get in there because the flood.
Go ahead. Go.
The reason why I wanted to hear that, because I've never been able to find a distinct year on when this happened. Because somebody today on Twitter was like, yo, something about the flood. And he was like, Meph's album would have been better if the flood didn't happen, To Cal. And I was like, well, I was under the impression that the flood happened like after, like,
yes,
Iron Man.
95, 96-ish.
I was going to say 96.
Right. So again, that was like my thing. And I was like, well, I don't want to respond to you, bro, because I don't know. But, you know, because I'm like, yo, it had to be after, because them beats for, you know, Cuban Links and Liquid Swords and all that, and Iron Man, like, you know, were crazy. So if he had to recreate those, so now I feel you 100%. I really wanted them to touch on that, especially since they had footage from everything else. I just knew there was going to be some footage of the basement soaked and water and looking.
Correct. I was right there with you. Like, okay, cool, we about to get it.
Right.
Can I piggyback off of what Rick just said? I also, obviously the flood, now that I think about it, but I also would have liked to see Deck maybe talk about how the flood affected him specifically, not just RZA talking about, like, you know, losing all the beats or whatever, because he said it a lot in a lot of interviews. And I think maybe that's why they didn't touch on it, because he's constantly asked about it and talks about it. But I would have liked to see how the members, like how they felt and what their perspective was with regards to how that flood affected them personally. Like I would have loved to see that from Dak. Sorry, you can go ahead, Rick.
Nah, you good, Push. That was the main thing that I wanted them to touch on. I would have liked to see studio footage, like more studio footage, like Kill said earlier, specifically with the Forever album. Not so, I mean, the 36 Chambers, yeah, we'll get that, but the Forever album, because you have these, they're now businessmen, they're entities, they're LLCs, they're worth something now. You know what I'm saying? I would have loved to have seen studio footage for that. I covered that album honestly more than I do 36 Chambers, only because I put 36 Chambers in the fucking box. Like you can't touch that. But I would have liked to have seen more footage and them talking more about the creation of that and how it sounded sonically, the complete opposite of what 36 sounded. I don't know if RZA used different equipment. I don't know if he took the money he made and was like, okay, well, I don't got to use this dusty ass ASR, whatever the case. I don't know. But I would have loved to have seen way more behind the scenes footage when it came to that. And then I don't know. I don't know if I got three things. I really liked everything as a whole, but those are two things that stand out to me. If I can think of a third in the next like 30 seconds, I'll chime in when everybody is done. But that's what I got for right now.
All right, no doubt. And I totally forgot. I forgot the three things that I learned. The one of the things that I learned was I didn't know anything about Staten Island's racism. You know,
bro.
To be honest with you, I didn't care about Staten Island before the Woo. You know, if you would, I know it sounds ignorant. If you would have asked me with Staten Island, I would have been like, Shaolin, it's projects. Like I didn't know white people was even on Staten Island. And I know somebody's like, well, kill. I'm just being honest. Nobody even cared about Staten Island before. So what are you going to say, Brad? So
as a kid, I was a very sick child. And growing up in Queens, the only hospital I could go to was Bailey Seton Hospital. It's in Staten Island. I learned very early about racism in New York as a 6-year-old when you walk into a pizza shop with your mother and they tell you, oh, we don't serve niggas here. You know what I'm saying? Like Staten Island, the island is cut in half. The bottom half of the hill or the bottom half of the highway that runs through Staten Island. If you've ever been to New York or you've ever driven through Staten Island to go to Brooklyn or wherever, you drive through, I forget the number of the highway, but you drive through Staten Island. That highway separates like a railroad track, like they say it separates the tracks. That highway is the separation. You got the bottom half of Staten Island, which is a hill, and you got the top half. For those that live in that area, next time you're driving through, look to your left as you're driving towards Brooklyn. You're going to see the hood. Look to your right as you're driving through. You ain't going to see the hood. It's separated by the highway. Staten Island is one of the most racist places in fucking America. Man, straight up.
It's funny. That's why I always laugh when people on Twitter act like the South has cornered the market on racism. like, dude, have you seen in LA, in the 60s and the 70s, New York, Boston, Chicago, my God. It's more Ku Klux Klan in Cali in the Midwest than it is in the South. But
Kill is different. So like Philly, my little bit of time growing up in South Jersey and in Philly, you don't really, if you're not in like, from what I would assume, South Philly and get that kind of racism.
Well, now you got spots. Like I think our spots is Kensington.
Yeah, I was about to say Kensington too.
Yeah,
Kensington too. South Philly.
Like Vern said, Brooklyn had Bensonhurst.
Yeah,
get about Yusef Hawkins and Russians out in Brighton Beach. So
that's the thing.
What's up?
Philly has its sections, but New York has boroughs that are the size of cities.
Right.
And you got racist situations, sometimes 2, 3, and 4 going on in all of those boroughs.
Right.
And it doesn't get spoken on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that was news to me that they hear about the racism. I'm with Porsche learning about Divine. I had never heard this dude's name in my life. The only one who I've heard before was the dude Power. And I only heard about Power if y'all remember this movie back.
Black and White?
Black and White, exactly.
Yeah, that's
Wow. So y'all didn't even so you didn't even catch him in Belly.
Belly, that's right. That's right.
Belly, Belly, I watched Belly like twice. I'm not one of the Belly phenomenon.
I love that movie.
No, when
I'm in the minority.
Belly comes on BET, I turn off BET.
It's on BET. You got to watch it for real, for real. Black and White was a good depiction.
Right, but that to me was when I saw Power, so I really didn't even know about Divine. And then the last thing, like all you guys alluded to, how the $1 Million album got made. And to where I say a little this, maybe it was RZA being, scarred or whatever, but I did feel like they got scammed into that album. And it was like, just throw a verse and we'll throw you a couple of thousand, or just do this, and not knowing that your skeleton and you're Frankenstein in this album together, and you're paying me $4,000 for a verse, and then y'all gonna turn around and try to sell it for $1 million. And it was funny in the theater when they was talking about the dude, what's his name, Sticky Fingers or Sticky Rings or whatever.
Silver Rings, man. Let's not get mixed up with Sticky Fingers.
Don't say
Silver Rings.
I call him fanboy Frank, man.
I said Sticky Rings, but when they were talking shit about him, and RZA was just like this.
You peeped that.
Yeah, I saw it.
He told dog, you was part of that shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like you was part of this scam because you knew he was reaching out to us. You knew and y'all knew what the goal was. So to me, that right there is shady.
That's shady.
That's shady.
That dude is the biggest cornball. I don't know how people have the audacity to come into my mentions and be like, dude is fire. Like, get right out of here. Like, get off my shit forever. Like, I don't ever want to talk to you ever.
I said this earlier this week. This is what we all have to do. And me and Porsche talk all the time offline. And I was telling her, your timeline is like your house. Okay?
Yeah.
Y'all mofos ain't coming in my house talking to me no kind of way. That's not going to happen. So I said earlier yesterday, I said my timeline is circa 1990. Okay? So if you come to my timeline, we're playing by 1990 rules. So if you come, and we'll get into that later, the shit kill started this week. But it's yours. Like, don't. Well, there was a time in 2018, I was like, man, I hate Twitter. It just ain't fun no more. And then 2019, I was like, nope, started blocking mofos left and right. Like, it's your house. If you let folk come up in your house and put their feet up on your shit and eat up all your food, they will do it. So if you come on your timeline.
So apparently this is like, Silver Rings is like, you mentioned this guy and all of a sudden there's like Silver Rings fans coming out the woodwork. I've never heard of this guy. I've been on Twitter for 9 years and I've been following Wu since Jump. So don't come at me and tell me dude is fire. Dude is not fire. I don't give a shit what he produced.
Porsche.
I am.
Is the greatest MC ever. Street Life. Okay,
like this is the thing. I mean, yeah.
But so that was the things that I learned because I had no idea that that's how that album came together. I thought it was a real Wu album. I thought they recorded it together. I thought they all knew, okay, we're gonna try to sell this for $1 million and we're gonna split, break it down. So to find out that it was like a damn scam, and a scam that came from their brother, you know what I mean? Like that's hurtful. And again, not to take anything away from that, but maybe RZA felt like, well, here's my thing, that wrong is wrong.
It's wrong. It's straight wrong.
That's the way I was raised. Wrong is wrong. Now, even if RZA was hurt because of whatever, still wrong is wrong. So that was my thing. Vern, what were 3 things that they didn't touch on, or however many you had that they didn't touch on that you wish they did?
They mentioned, RZA was mentioning that in regards to the publishing, that they were going to work on getting that right. So I would wish they would have got deeper into that, or hopefully we find out. Secondly, and lastly, they got to put a project out. I think.
Well, they got the joint drop
the mixtape.
They got an EP dropping tomorrow.
Yeah, I think they got one last hurrah in them. To some degree. So I want to see that.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, Wu's Saga wasn't great, but
no, I got one thing I wish they'd have touched on. And this is just me, maybe just being a fan. I wish they would have touched on the spinoff groups that actually were affiliated with them. I think that would have been cool just to hear how many people, Shaheem the Rugged Child, King Just, Sons of Man. I just would have liked to have just maybe if they'd have touched on it real brief.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And for me, I'm right. I think me and Rec being producers, the same thing I said to Flood. I want to see RZA on the ASR. because
Yes.
through all the photos, not the videos, I kept seeing the SP12, and from everything I heard about RZA was he was the
SR10.
You know, so it was kind of weird. Like, I'm like, is this weird? Like in documentaries where you don't have the footage and you just throw in a studio and you just throw in a drum machine or something?
Do you think that was calculated just so that people didn't catch what he was doing?
No, I mean, I don't know.
Method wise,
I don't. I mean, here's the crazy part, and this is no disrespect, because by me being a producer and following these guys, my job was to try to figure out how do they do what they do.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? Here's the thing with RZA. Most of RZA stuff, as in 80% of hip hop, is just loops. You know what I mean? So, you know, for him to show, I mean, as soon as you hear Cream, as soon as you hear the original, you're like, oh, Cream. It's not like, you know,
it's not like Primo where it's chopped up to where you don't even know what it is.
Yeah, when you're talking about a technique, when you're just, and I'm not, hell, 98.9% of what I make is loops. You know, I seldomly am in here chopping to a point where you don't even know where it came from. But if you're just looping, then I mean, there's really not too much to let in on the secrets. You know what I mean? It's like if you cooking a hot dog, it ain't like can't show you how much water I put in this pot. Hot dog right here, like, you know. And I'm not saying Cream is a hot dog, but I'm just saying when I'm from doing Milk Crates, salute to my man, a kid called Roots. You know, we would play the original and then we play who used it, and it's like. You're just like, oh, snap, that's where he got it. But it's not like when I play you Dilla or Primo and you're like, nah, kid, I don't hear it. Play it again. Nah, I don't hear it. Play it again.
Yeah.
Nah, I still don't hear it. Like, so it's like, you know, so I don't think that's what it was. And the last thing I would have loved to see is the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to see, like how Ray was saying, like, I want to know my brother's kids. I want, you know what I mean? I would have loved to just do something like Meth and his however many kids. Like, I'm interested, are they into hip hop, you know, or, you know, are they just regular kids? Like, I would have loved to kind of, you know, and not belabor it for a whole 40 minutes, but kind of just like, yo, here's a picture you got in his family. Here's a picture of Ghost in his family. Like, I would have just loved to see that next generation of folk. Porsche, what about you? Was there anything that you wanted?
No, I think everyone touched on it. I think for me, yeah, the flood and how it impacted each individual member would have been my big thing. I do wish, I know you didn't ask this, but I wish we saw none of Silver Rings and way less of it if we had to. You know which basket he's going into, but anyways. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I think it was pretty dope.
All right, Vern, we did yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here we are. How many mics out of 5 are y'all giving the Wu-Tang documentary? Porsche?
4 mics.
All right, Rhett?
I'm stuck in between 4 and 4.5. Okay. I can give it a solid 4. I haven't watched it twice. I watched it straight through that Friday night. So right now I'm gonna give it 4. I'm gonna give it a solid 4.
All right, Vern?
I've watched each episode about 3 or 4 times because I was actually like studying. Like I said, I wasn't a Wu head, so I'm giving it 4.5. Man, I love watching stuff that we only knew on the surface, and getting to see behind the scenes. Man, that's why like people trash Michael Rappaport. He's a clown, but without him, we don't get the Tribe documentary. So as clown as he might be, at least we got that. So yeah, I love to see it. So I'm gonna say 4.5.
Yeah, no doubt. It's funny that you touched on Michael Rappaport. And the reason why I say that is because me and Ev talk about this all the time, that as Black folk, we got to do a better job of documenting our
own story.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, before anybody says it, trust me, I'm a up and coming trying to make it filmmaker, and I understand that without that budget, that white folk gonna get that budget that we don't have. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So just like I said earlier, you know, I can't unless I'm gonna go sell some crack, you know, to get the money to buy all the equipment and editing and all that stuff. But like even with the Tribe documentary, and I always call him Remy from Higher Learning, he will always Remy. Like I don't even call him Michael Rappaport. That nigga's Remy. And the same thing. A lot of people don't know that there was a documentary called Gunning for the Number One Spot, which God bless the dead, MCA from the Beastie Boys did. It's a great documentary too. If y'all love ball, watch this documentary. They got all the dopest high school players at the time. We're talking about Brandon Jennings. We're talking about Kevin Love. We're talking about Tyreek Evans. We're talking about a lot of people who made the league And they went to each one of their towns and they brought them to Rucker Park to play. This when they were all in high school.
This was their high school senior joint?
Yeah, this is.
I think I saw it. Was Joakim Noah in it?
Nah, Noah wasn't in it.
So I haven't seen it then.
But very dope documentary. But again, MCA White from the Beastie Boys did it. You know what I mean? So
what's it called again, Kill?
Called Gunning for the number one spot.
For the number one spot.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Very dope. But again, all that to just say, I give it a strong 4. I learned a lot. One of the things that was heartbreaking to me in this was when they were talking about their dads. You know what I mean? I think it was Master Killer who would say, "Yo, I would just listen to records because my dad used to sing them to me." You know what I mean? And then when he left us, you know, it was like that was my way of remembering him. Or when, you know, I forgot who said it. Like, well, at least all our kids know their dads. I
think Ray said it.
Yeah, you know, like we didn't know that. Or even hearing Ghostface story talk about how his two brothers.
Yeah.
You know?
That was sad.
Yeah, you know, and it's kind of like he said, like, damn, if I would have been old enough, it's like, yo, mommy drinking. You know, now mommy doing this. I gotta take kids. You know, I'm a kid.
It puts those songs that he wrote about that situation in a different perspective, because you don't take it as art now. It's like you listen to what he said and how he even said it. You can see it almost like he wanted to shed a fucking tear, but when he said it, I was like, oh shit. Okay, let me pay attention, because this is a whole nother dynamic that honestly he wasn't asked that question. It's just the answer he gave, and it was it
was to the point that T was just walking through the house, and even she came back like she was like, "Yo, he said his two brothers had him."
Yeah. I thought it was maybe just one. I didn't know both of them.
Right, you know, so that was bugged. So tell me this, Vern, you said they got one last hurrah in them. I'm not gonna front. Some of the music I was hearing them play sounded dope, you know, to the point. But again, I'm not a big Wu head. So again, and what I mean by that is after Wu-Tang Forever, I ain't listening. I skimmed through those albums. I listened to them, but nothing ever stuck. So I'm like, damn, is this new meth or is this something I missed, you know, years ago, because I'm not really digging for them. So are y'all excited about this EP tomorrow and an upcoming Wu-Tang album? And here's my last question. Is it a Wu-Tang album if RZA did not produce it?
You already know the answer to that question. For me,
well, get started. So are you excited about this EP dropping?
I am, again, because I'm late to the party. So listen, I ain't heard 70% of their catalog, to be honest with you. Wow. So I'm new. I'm going back as I'm driving the car. I'm checking. All right, let me check out Deck stuff. All right, let me check out Cap. Funny, I remembered I used to work with one of Cap's child's mom. Anyway, she's cool. She's cool. Now he wrote a song. He had it in one of the songs. Anyway, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
All right, and is it a Wu? I'll say this: is it a Wu album if it's not produced by Wu affiliate producers? And what I mean by that is, like, for me, I'm excited for a new Wu album, but the thing about me in hip hop, I always got an asterisk on everything. Like, if somebody says, "Hey, Kill, you excited for a new Outkast album?" Yeah, Trey is rhyming and organized. Like, this ain't just I got some parentheses around my excitement. So I want to. It's not a Wu album to me if it's not produced by RZA. I heard that there's a single floating around right now produced by Scratch. To me, that's not Wu-Tang.
That's not Wu-Tang.
But that's Ghost and RZA, and then produced by Scratch. So I don't know.
But supposedly
RZA oversaw it.
Right, but supposedly that's off this new EP. But for me, it can't be a Tribe album if Tip ain't producing. You know what I mean? If RZA did a beat on the Tribe, if RZA's doing all the beats for a Tribe album, that ain't Tribe to me. Like, it's just how I kind of connect the dots. It's almost like if Auntie Ange ain't making the mac and cheese, I ain't eating that shit. Like, you know how black folk are with who made the mac
and cheese. Yeah,
that's the first question after you walk in the house.
The potato salad, like, so that potato salad gonna be by itself over there. So to me, if RZA ain't cooking for Wu affiliates, give me Fourth Disciple or True Master, somebody. I need. Give me 50-50, 50% RZA, 50% other Wu people. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. Rec, what about you? Are you excited about this album?
I don't have any expectations, man. You alluded to it earlier. It's been a long time since we've gotten a cohesive, great Wu-Tang album. I don't have no expectations for it. Whatever it is, I'll listen to it and make my judgment call then. It's not a Wu-Tang album if RZA does not produce it. it's time. If they're gonna release an album, then it don't need to be no True Master.
Yep.
It don't need to be no 4th, 5th, 9th. It don't need to be no one else. Period. Because you've had your time to do that.
Yes.
Those other producers have done Wu-Tang albums without RZA.
And none of them fit.
Yep.
Correct. You've already tried to do what you wanted to do for 20 years, and the shit ain't work.
Right.
Go back to the essence.
There you
do
go.
what you do.
There you
And
go.
the cats, 41, 40. We want to hear it. So do it
Here's
the correct way.
Speaking of age, I had Jizz is like 53.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Jizza is the oldest out of the 9 members.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm sitting here doing math, like, that nigga was 27 when I was in college. Like, you know what I mean? But that just And another reason, Rec, that I need to see RZA on the ASR, because Nick sent me this thing with him at Guitar Center making this whack-ass beat.
You saw that video?
I'm sitting here like, is this RZA mofo that made Cream? Like, so I need to see some footage.
See, I think this is my own opinion. I think, and you and I both, we in the lab. I think that when you do things like this, I think it's calculated. I don't think producers, when the video camera is on them, want to show you their best shit.
Yo, you don't need to show me making it. You could just show me the finished product. Just press play on the ASR and let Cream come out the speakers. You ain't got to show me how to make it.
But he's in Guitar Center too.
Well, here's the thing. RZA to me went wrong. If y'all remember back on Source and XXL, I can't remember which one it was.
Okay.
He started promoting this rolling machine.
Oh, there you go. Talk about it. Talk about the 60, the big ass MPC joint.
Looked like an MPC 3000, but it wasn't.
Trash.
It was a rolling, and I think ever since then it just went downhill. But Porsche, what about you? Are you excited? The Wu Head Are you excited for this EP tonight?
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it because I feel like, well, I hope that they have put together something new. Mm-hmm. The saga continues. I was really looking forward to, and I was sort of let down because it felt like random stuff that they just had laying around mashed together to make another, Wu joint that everyone was just gonna.
The last one that came out with Redman all over it.
Yes, I think that was the saga.
Yeah.
And which is cool. I love Redman. So I mean, he's a Wu-Tang affiliate because he's so connected to meth. But that album felt thrown together with a bunch of old stuff that was sitting somewhere archived, right? If this EP is new stuff, then I 100% am excited about it. I'll always check for anything Wu puts out. It's not a Wu album unless RZA specifically produces it or has explicit production credits for it. And I say that now more so than I did before because of this bozo that's out there producing for these guys. And I don't want to hear anything this guy has to put out. I don't want to support anything his name is on. So
well, here's the thing. I don't think dude, whatever his name is, I don't think he wants to be around none of them.
He know better. He know better.
He may catch a beat there. So I don't think he's gonna be in no sessions with them. You know what I mean? Ghost may smack him. So I don't think he wants no parts of being down.
Yeah. So I mean, people are tweeting me pictures of albums that this guy's produced and talking about this. Like, save it. I don't want to hear it. I'm not going to listen to anything anyone sends me about this guy. No thanks. So Wu album with the RZA. Yes, I'm all for it. And I am excited about this EP. So.
All right, no doubt.
Hey, Kill, I forgot to mention something else that disturbed me and proved the point that RZA had the blueprint. Ain't no way in hell Dirty should have been with no doggone Dame Dash, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That hurt.
Yeah. I mean,
I bought that album just to support Old Dirty.
I mean, he had him out there looking bad, man, and that's what I get why RZA didn't want to let him off. Like, bro, we fam, this me, you, and Jizza. I mean, can't nobody do dirt like we could do it. Then you sign with him, but you got me in the studio making your beats. What's the point? Why do we even need them? But I forgot to bring that point up.
Right.
He had him doing the Dirt Dog joint. When that joint came out, I said it's over. It's absolutely over.
Yeah.
I think too the thing is a lot of times, and this goes back to the business, we're more amped to pay strangers than we are to pay family because family's supposed to do it
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yes.
The white lawyer or the black
Yeah, man.
or the
Yeah.
Chinese lawyer, but
yeah,
you, my brother, I shouldn't be paying you. So
yeah.
I think
yeah.
that comes up with it too. This
Yeah.
right here, I got a lot of goodies up in here in the
Oh,
lab.
shoot.
This right here is probably my most
Yes.
prized possessions right here.
Yes.
The Liquid Swords joint, nice glossy cover to it. Literally, only so many made, 39 of 100 made. You know, definitely one of my most prized possessions right here. I always loved this cover. One thing I loved about the RZA, and I just never took the time to really learn how to do it, was play chess.
Yeah.
You know, I love the fact that they had footage of them just on the bus playing chess.
You're not the only one. I'll learn with you, Kill. We can play.
Yeah, I want to learn too. I want to learn too.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Now, to my favorite part of the show, the shit that Kill started on Twitter. This is the shit that I started this week. So, one of my people got at me and said, Benny the Butcher is a doper lyricist than Jay-Z. And I was like, we have to stop being prisoners of the moment, y'all. We have to. I know Benny is hot. Y'all know I love Griselda. Like, y'all have already had interventions for me.
Yeah, we know. We know.
This isn't about who you like and who you don't like, and I'm not the biggest Jay-Z fan. Like, literally, right, if you said, Kill, I got tickets, front row seats to see Jay-Z in Houston, nigga, I will fly you out here. Nigga, I will probably be like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. Like, and
I'll call Yao.
you know what? I'll say, yeah, call Yao. I'll say this. I would do it just to go to Houston. I've never been to Houston.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Come chill with your brother.
But if you said, yo, Kill, I got tickets to Jay-Z and DC, like, I'm good. Now, maybe if you got VIP backstage passes, you know me, I'm trying to sell beats like a crackhead out here. But all that to say that I've never seen Jay perform. And I saw him perform when he was on Priority at like Howard's hip hop conference back in like 95 before Reasonable Doubt even dropped. I've never seen Jay in a stadium setting. I don't want to see Jay in a stadium setting. The closest thing you would ever get to me wanting to see Jay is one of these B-sides concerts he does when he's not doing the hits. I would want to go see that. So I'm just saying that to say I'm not the biggest Jay-Z fan, but y'all already know Griselda coming out here in DC June 17th. We are
You going again?
Am I gonna be there? Like, bruh, I'm backstage, I'm everywhere. My man already done hooked it up. So this isn't about like, I love Benny the Butcher, but to say he's better than Jay-Z, like, come on, dog. And eventually I said, you know, Benny don't even give you a third verse. And a lot of people was like, well, who cares about the third verse? And I'm like, who cares about the third verse? Like, what do you mean who cares about the third verse? The third verse, and this is because I'm a writer and I took creative writing classes, the third verse is the in conclusion paragraph. Like, in conclusion, this is what I'm trying to say. Imagine the third verse of Song Cry not being there. You know, Jay is painting a story. He's saying, yo, this is what we were like when we were poor. This is what we like when we got some money. These are the consequences of now us having money. You know what I mean? What if Nas ended I Gave You Power with the second verse? Like, you don't even get the third verse or the gun jammed in the, you don't get any of that. Now somebody else grabbed me. Damn, you don't get that. But then I said, well, look, I believe it's because these new rappers, they can't do it. It's a skill to it. They can't do it, or they're just so lazy. They don't want to do it because nobody even says anything about the third verse. And, people, rappers were on my timeline like, nah, it ain't that. I could do a third verse if I want to. I don't want to. And I was like, all right, well, look, y'all know me. Put your money where your mouth is. I'm going to send y'all a beat. I want y'all to write a storytelling rhyme and have 3 verses, 16 bars or better. Mofo's like, oh, I ain't got to prove nothing to you. Da, da, da. So I'm like, this was like late at night. So the next day I do a video calling them out. Like, all you mofos who was on my line, where's the beat? Like, yo, hit me with your email. Don't at me. Don't talk to me. Don't tweet me. Because that's times you could be spent writing your rhymes.
Right.
The dope thing was, well, the mofos who were on my line never responded. And this is the new way. And that's why I was saying that my timeline is circa 1990. You either put up or shut up. Either you're gonna do the challenge or get the fuck off my timeline. I told you I got 9,500 plus followers. Half of y'all can kick rocks for all I care. I could drop down a 4,000 out just for Bob. Like, y'all don't have to come to my timeline. If you come to my house, nigga, it's my rules. If I go to Vern house and he playing Staxies with Uno, I gotta play Staxies with Uno.
You better believe it, because we stack
Draw
over here.
12.
Baby.
Draw
That's
12.
right.
Me and house telling him how we gonna play Uno. I can't come in his house and tell him it's the 2 of spades, not the 2 of diamonds. It's his house. You can't come to my timeline telling me what I'm gonna talk about. Like, nigga, like that ain't gonna happen. So the dope thing was that, like, literally over 60 MCs have responded. You know, I've sent out this beat. Like, I don't even know what to do with it now because it's the same beat. Like, I'm not sending 60 different beats. I don't want to hear this beat 60 times. But the thing that was dope is that people are DMing me, telling me, like, yo, this is a rough challenge. Like, I never tried this. You know what I mean? Like, I never saw how hard the third verse was. And that's the thing that I want to salute those MCs for trying. You know what I mean? Because those mofos who was talking shit, y'all can't do it. Because if you could do it, you would.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that, you know, the rule in my house is you try. One day, Naomi, all A student, all her life, she came home with a C once on a paper. She was scared. She was shook. You talk about Prodigy, talking about them yellow black niggas in Queensbridge. Yo, she was shook. And she showed it to me, and she was like, ready to get in trouble. I was like, well, did you try? She was like, Daddy, I tried. I did this. I did that. I went for extra credit. I was like, then we good. Let's go get some ice cream. And she was like, we good? And I was like, you tried. That's the rule of our house. Just try. If you can't complete the challenge and you can't come up with the third verse, you think I'm going to joke you? Like, that ain't my character. I'm just like, here's the thing. It's like a game of horse. This is fun. Like, this isn't about dissing anybody. I'm not going to take all 60 MCs and then say, okay, y'all, let's vote like American Idol. Who's the best? This is just fun. This is just a challenge to step you outside of your box to see what you can do. And the wild part is Jace issued that challenge when he was like, yo, Kill, let's do this challenge where we both get the same record and we got to try to flip the same song at different.
I remember.
And here's the wild part. At first, I was like, I don't know about that, bro. I don't make beats like that. Like, when I'm making a beat, the sample got to speak to me. Like, I can't do that rhythm roulette, like just grab a random record and that's
hard. That's just hard.
But as soon as I said that that's hard, I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. Like, and I've been making beat 25 years. You know what I mean? So I'm always, but that's the mentality of people who want to get better. Even after 25 years, I want to push myself. A lot of these dudes is happy with their crew saying you nice and let's keep it funky. Everybody be acting like they get 1 million streams. Nigga, you happy your shit on iTunes. Like, let's keep it funky. You know what I mean? Because if you was eating like that, you wouldn't be working at wherever you working at. Right. You know, so that was the shit I started on Twitter this week. The whole hashtag third verse challenge. You know what I mean?
And then someone actually hopped in and said, well, it's not the MC's problem. It's listeners don't want to hear 3 verses. And I was like, sorry, I had to interfere in there. And I was like, because that's what I do. Kill starts shit, and I always jump in on it. And I was like, actually, listeners want to hear the third verse.
Yes.
It's just MCs can't produce a third verse and create one. So don't come at the fans and listeners for this one. Like, you guys take the blame for that. So
I get so tired of that.
Yeah, so I had to point that out there, and I want to reiterate it because if I have to hear another person say it's the listener who doesn't have the attention span. Sorry, listeners don't have the attention span for a third verse. They can just.
Now here's the wild part with that, because people were telling me that, and people made some good points, but I made some good counterpoints. Number one, the first point I made was last time I checked, that Avenger movie was 3 fucking hours. Okay. And I was the only person mad about it. Everybody else was like, oh, it's 4 hours. I wish they would have touched more on it. So you can't tell me people's attention spans are short and they just sat through an Avengers movie for 3 hours and loved it. So you can't tell me that. Number two, people were like, well, I think the third verse got cut because with streaming, you get paid more if the whole song is played and the third verse makes it longer. And that may be true, but here's what I said. There's a big difference between Pharoahe Monch streaming and rapper Joey D streaming. Because if you see a new Pharoahe song, I'm going to listen to the whole Pharoahe song. If somebody sends me they stuff MC Joey D, after the first 20 seconds, it ain't good, I'm done. You know, and that's the thing with Bandcamp, it's about previews. Because Bandcamp will show you your stats of how many full songs did you get played, how many this month. So a lot of times people are skimming, people are previewing songs. So again, I'm not saying that that's not true, but trust me, numbers can be skewed. I numbers statistics mean nothing to me. When people start talking NBA shit with the plus and the minus, I just do the eye test. I'm old. I don't know nothing about none of that.
Analytics. Give me that.
I'm gonna skew them analytics to go whatever way you want them to go. I done did reports and told my boss what you need this report to say because I can make it say it. So I don't do numbers. So and then the last thing is that if it's dope, we will listen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's it. One of my favorite Joe Budden songs is Only Human. I never realized till today that song is 8 minutes and 40 seconds.
Wow.
I never noticed that in my life because it's such a good song. I'm like, God, this thing is 8 minutes? Joe Budden has a song called Who Killed Hip Hop. If y'all never heard it, I beg of you tonight, before you say your prayers and go to bed, listen to Joe Budden's Who Killed Hip Hop. It is 15 minutes. But when you are done with it, you will not believe 15 minutes of your life just went by because he breaks down everything of what has killed hip hop since 2000. So again, if you are dope enough to do it, you won't even guess what? The Marvel people who love Marvel, they didn't even realize it was 3 hours. They were enjoying eating their popcorn like, oh shit, it's over. Like if it is dope enough, and that's the if. If it's dope enough, we will continue. You think I don't want a third verse of Rubber Bands and Weight by Benny the Butcher? I'm like, yo, where the third verse at, Benny? Like, where we going? Like, but again, I just think rappers either don't have the skill to do it, or they're just like nobody's asking for it anymore.
Isn't Jay-Z's like "Mama Loves You"? Isn't that like a 12-minute song or something on Blueprint?
Don't give me the line because I'm not. I don't know any stats on Jay.
Okay. Well, Jay has a song over 10 minutes long on the Blueprint, I think. So.
And I mean, well, you know what? Mama Loves Me isn't 10 minutes. What it is Mama Loves Me. They also
it's a hidden track.
Yeah, it's the hidden.
Oh,
it's hidden,
but it's all connected, right?
Yes, you let the CD play, and eventually it'll come on.
So it'll come on, and you don't even notice. You're just so wrapped up in it that you're like, okay, is this the same song? What's going on?
Oh no, next thing it's the Girls remix that comes on. It's just a hidden track. So Mama Love Me is only like 3 minutes.
Okay.
When you put it in, it says it's long because the hidden track.
Right.
It's just to tell people, and here's the dopest thing, that MCs are DMing me saying, yo, OG, thank you for this challenge. Like, it's pushing me. You know, one person hit me like, yo, I ain't even rap no more. Like, I stopped rapping. But this inspired me to see if I still got it. And the one that got me the most was this dude hit me and he said, yo, I took a hip hop songwriting class. Number one, I had no idea a hip hop songwriting class even existed. We could start right there.
Yeah.
And yo, my professor never pushed us to do more than 2 verses. So he was like, yo, your challenge has me questioning the good money I paid for this class. You know what I mean? My professor never challenged us. He never made us write more than a second verse. So I'm sitting here out of ignorance, and I'm like, yo, where this kid go to school? Like community college? This mofo went to Berkeley School of Music.
Wow.
Looks like you need to apply for a new gig, man.
Bruh, if you think me and Eb did not get on the phone after I read that and started working on a master plan, because yo, number one, I'm like, who is teaching this songwriting, hip hop songwriting class? Are you even an MC? Like, who
what credentials do they have?
What credentials do you have? And for somebody to say some random person on Twitter push their creative boundaries further than their professor,
who they pay money to go to.
Stupid money. But yeah.
Exactly. So just all that to say, that's the shit I started. And here's the great part. I don't know how I'm a freaking next month. Rec prayerfully you'll be down for it. I'm trying to do something because so many people responded. My man hit me, was like, yo, you should do a compilation. I'm like, well, I can't do the compilation. Same beat. So that ain't gonna work. But maybe next month I'll do a challenge. I'll get maybe like 20 producers. And I'll just say, hey, look, the first 20 MCs who respond to this, y'all get these 20 tracks, and then, you know, we'll come up with a concept of, you know, what we want them to rap about. We may say, hey, just write a battle rap. I just want you to just, you know, just spit. Like Young Google will call them the barbershop records. You know, he tell Jay-Z, you can do all this radio shit, but I need that barbershop record for when I'm getting my hair cut. Niggas is talking shit about you. I could be like, but did you hear? So maybe this month it's a barbershop record. Maybe next month it's something else. But I want to try to get it to where, you know, we're doing something, because I definitely didn't expect 60. And every time I check my Twitter, it's 10, 20 more DMs. Like,
I had to turn your notifications off for a couple of days, actually.
Yeah, it was getting serious. But all that to say, that's that. Right, give them all the info, good brother.
So it's funny you just said that, man. I'm getting ready to drop a production album, beat tape, man. So I'm in the lab on like a daily basis, just in the stash mode. You know how that goes. So that's gonna come out shortly. I just kind of cut the cord on the last 12 or 13 tracks. So I'm in stash mode. So let's do it. I'm with it, Kill.
All right, but give them all the info. Where
So I'm like I said, I'm just gonna give the Twitter and the IG because I got some other stuff working. I ain't gonna go there today. Right. Twitter is at DJ Rec1 and IG is DJ Rec1. I changed it from Worldwide Rec1 to DJ Rec1. Kill will put it up. Y'all can just add me if y'all got questions or whatever.
All right, no doubt. Porsche, give everything, miss.
You'll post it up. I don't need to tell them.
Burn the Closer Chandler. Give them all the info, good bro.
Instagram at V the Loan Closer, Twitter V Chandler 10.
All right.
Get him.
You are buying a house in Atlanta, and then you said Alabama too, right?
Yep.
You are buying a house. You better get at this guy. Okay,
hey man, I got a caveat, Kill.
What's that?
So if you're buying a house, holla at my man Kill. But if you want to join the army, holla at your boy. Holla at your boy.
If you want to join the army and you in Houston,
holla at your boy.
Rec1. Okay, get his recruiting numbers up. All right.
Hey, I'm like number 3 or 4 in the battalion, man. I'm doing well.
That's good, man.
Nice.
That's good. Nothing but dopeness, man. Y'all all deserve it. Y'all already know what it is. Kill 889 on Twitter and on IG. I said a tweet earlier. It was my best friend's birthday yesterday. I wrote him a text telling him I love him.
Happy belated.
You know, my life wouldn't be the same without him. All that stuff, and I put. I'm getting old because I would have never written this about I love you and what you do for Naomi and blah, 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 blah. But I've been to enough funerals to say that as black men, we don't say that enough. We wait till somebody dies and then it's like, oh my God, I loved him. That was my brother, blah, blah, blah. All that to say, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all that this podcast.
Love you too, bro.
Hey, love all y'all. Yeah.
Without y'all. I'm not Vegas. I don't have that personality to just be on it by myself. You know, that's a blessing. I can't do it. Like, I'd be like talking to myself, like, hey, Kill, what's going on? Hell, ain't shit. So I don't have that personality, you know, to be able to do that. I gotta have people around me, and more importantly, like and again, Vern, I know me and you connected through the boot camp mixtape. Rec, I know me and you connected because you hit me to listen to your mix. Porsche, I have no idea how we connected. You know what I mean? And this is good. Do you remember Porsche?
I do. We connected actually off of Wu-Tang.
Hey.
It's a full circle.
All right.
It was a Wu-Tang article that I had written, and you read it, and you were like, "Oh, hey."
Can you repost it, Porsche?
Yeah, please, because I haven't read it.
Oh,
or
damn.
just pull it out the stash and put it in an email.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. No, and the reason why I say that is because, you know, I truly believe in God putting people in your life for a reason. You know what I mean? And I truly believe that all of y'all, you know, and it's not just, I got a lot of people on Twitter who ain't part of this. Like, this apartment 5B is a part of me. You know what I mean? It's named after my mother-in-law's apartment, you know, so for y'all are the crew. You know what I mean? We got a lot of guests. We have a lot of people who sit in from time to time, but this is the crew right here. You know, Nick is missing an Ev, but, you know, I just appreciate y'all, what y'all bring to the show and everything like that. And the funny thing with social media is 20 years from now, it's great that we remember these things. But like with my best friend who I was just talking about, Rob, I can tell you, if Naomi asked me, how'd you meet Uncle Rob? Well, I met him freshman year of high school. We were sitting in class. He liked Jordan. I liked the Pistons. We talk trash. 20 years from now, nobody's going to remember how they met on Twitter. You know, it's just going to be, I met him on Twitter. You know, I met him on IG or, you know, nothing like that. So just all that to say that, you know, this podcast can't be what it is. It can't be as dope it is without y'all and what y'all bring to the table. So I appreciate the hell out of y'all. And I will check everybody next week, y'all.
Thank you, Kill.
No doubt.
Likewise.
No doubt.